Hello everybody and welcome back to Memory Gamma. Today we're going to be continuing with our Heroes of the Federation and we're going to be moving on in era. We're going to be looking at the original series. So TOS, the very first one, the OG Enterprise. Now, as with the NX, I'm going to stick this with keeping it inside era. Now, the difference with this is, because the original series covers a large portion of time between Kirk becoming commander of the Enterprise and the decommissioning of the Enterprise A, that's a huge period of time with lots of variation. I'm going to be splitting this up into two videos. We're going to do an original series ship and a original series movie ship. So we're going to do the Enterprise and the Enterprise A in two separate videos. I am, however, going to go just as Kirk, because all the different variations of Kirk you see, despite the picture you see on the cards, are reminiscent and evident of the Kirks that we see throughout both the series and the films. So the most modern Kirk that gives you the ability to change your maneuver for some time tokens, that is, very much based upon, Kirk being maneuverable in either the Mutara Nebula or in the Battle of Khitomer, but also could be him taking command of the ship during the Deadly Years and doing a trick maneuver to trick the Romulans into falling back so he can escape. So all of the abilities you see on all the different crew and captains in this era are realistically mixable between the two. That's a very long-winded way of me saying I'm not going to worry about sticking with the cards that came in that ship pack to go on this ship. So we're going to bring up the Enterprise. There's lots of Enterprises. We're going to go right down to the bottom. So we have two versions of the Enterprise. There is the Constitution class refit, which would be the motion picture, but I'm not going to use that because, again, that's TOS movies. So we have the original Enterprise OG card came with, you may perform actions on your action bar while you have auxiliary power tokens. This is nice. It means you can take your aux power and you can still go action battle stations, is what it boils down to. You can also do, scan or evade or target lock, or if you get anything else added to your action bar, then you could do that. A sideline that I will very quickly talk about in this video is a potential for using the Enterprise when Kirk is infiltrating the Romulans. And the other version is from the animated faction pack, which is an action repair 3 shields, or up to 3 shields on this ship, which for the most part will be action full shield repair. Now, that is not a bad action by any means. It's also a couple of points cheaper. In this is Prime Utopia. There is the Fremont Reformation standard which we use, which is our Spuds costing, which has a very different colour background, and all of the ships have been sort of recosted down if they haven't already been. But for this, because this is the one that everybody around the world will be using if you're not part of the Fremont, I'm using these point costs. So we're going to go for the original, 22 points. Now, you may perform actions on your action bar while you have auxiliary power tokens. This is really nice. You only get 4 crew slots and a weapon slot, so no tech, which is meh. Again, back in the day, tech wasn't a huge thing. These days, tech is brilliant. Back when this ship came out, wave 0 of the game, tech was very rare and very limited. So, captains. We have a couple of options. You have Captain Robert April, or Commodore Robert April, who was in command of the Constitution class before, who was in command of the Enterprise before Kirk. If this is equipped to a Constitution class, you get +1 Captain skill, so skill 9. Brilliant. As an action, you can remove all the time tokens from a targeted crew upgrade onto April, and then perform the crew action that you've just re-enabled, action as a free action. So, your crew member has a, action do this. You can remove the time tokens from them with April and then re-enable them, and then reuse their action. But April's also an admiral in this era, so we're going to use him as the admiral. which means our captain is, of course, James Tiberius Kirk. Now, there's lots of versions of Kirk. We're going to ignore the bottom version. This is the Kelvin timeline Kirk. There will be a separate video on the Kelvin timeline. But also, they're very sort of like insular. And also, you may notice he has a little circle symbol here. This is specialization. That's not a captain to admiral flip. That's a special rule that only interacts with other specialization cards. So, we have, as you may notice, 6 Kirks. So, from the bottom, we have 8 skill, double talent, 5 points, 2 time tokens, and the reveal dial step, change or maneuver. Which means that you can set this ship's maneuver to anything you like. And then when it comes to your turn to move, I'll change it. It basically means even if you have, you plan for what you do, and no matter what the enemy's done before you, at their lower captain skills, you can alter your tactics to change it immediately. Never a bad idea. 2 time tokens means you can do it every other round. In free world, obviously, you'd have ways of speeding this up. TL Grey Hot or Esri, but neither of those are TOS era, so therefore I'm not going to be using them in this video. We have Animated Kirk. Action, place a scan or a battle stations token beside this ship, and then do a crew action as a free action. He's just action economy. 8 skill talent slots for action economy. Really nice. Very, very nice. Gets you a token and a crew action. No problems there. Now, however, he is a captain. He is an action on a captain, which means he doesn't trigger with the Enterprise's named ability. So if you had an Orcs power token, you couldn't do this guy's action. Because he's not an action bar action, he's a captain action. The next Kirk came with the HMS Bounty. However, he makes all Federation crew upgrades 1 point cheaper, and whenever you're meant to disable a crew upgrade, you can put 3 time tokens on it instead. Now, that's amazing on anything with lots of crew slots, like this ship, because effectively what you're doing is you're putting 4 crew upgrades on this thing, minimum. There is ways of increasing that with other things, but you're putting at least 4 crew on this ship. Kirk at that point there costs 1 point for an 8 skill talent slot. That also means that when it says disable your crew upgrade to do this, you put 3 time tokens on them, which means that yes, it takes a while for them to come back, but they do refresh, which means that you don't have to worry about action re-enabling them. Then we've got this Kirk here, which is target a ship at range 1, disable an upgrade on their ship. It's a simple thing, it's an action, it's your action to disable one of their things. It is one upgrade of your choice, so it doesn't lock it to a crew or a tech or anything, but it is only at range 1. Then we go to our first printed skill 9. This one came with the original Enterprise A pack. As an action, place a battle stations token beside your ship. And you can spend this token to re-roll up to 2 attack or defense dice instead of using it as a battle stations token. So it's an action battle stations, but it's action place a token. And then that gives you an ability to spend that token as a sort of like a limited defensive or offensive target lock. It gives you an awful lot of flexibility. It's an awful lot of potential there. But again, he's an action and a captain rather than an action and an action bar, and it's not, and you can't do him when you've got Orcs power tokens. That's not the whole point of this, but it's obviously something to consider. And finally, we've got the original Kirk, where you get 9 skill, double talent, 6 points. Federation talents you buy for Kirk cost 3 points and are placed face down. And they remain face down till you decide to use them. Now, face down cards cannot be affected by any opposing abilities. They can't be targeted, can't be discarded, can't be chosen as a target for anything until their turn face up. Now, the downside with him is you do have to then realistically spend 12 points. 6 points for him and then 6 points on the 2 3-point talents. Now, it does get you a discount because you can bring 2 5-point talents and it makes them, instead of combined 10, combined 6. But it does mean that realistically, if you're bringing that Kirk, you're locked in to spending 12 points on that. And that is all he does. So he doesn't have any in-game effect apart from hiding and decreasing the cost of the talents. So I think we're going to go back. We're going to use this Kirk. So this Kirk is the all crew upgrades are a point cheaper, and all crew upgrades that would be disabled, you put time tokens on them instead. Now, we also said we've got Robert April. As a fleet action, you can move all the time tokens from a crew upgrade to him and then do their action as a free action. So he now works quite nicely with this Kirk. You can disable a crew upgrade. Kirk makes that 3 time tokens. Now that doesn't have to be an action. That can be a when you move, or a when defending, or a when attacking. Anything that says disable becomes time tokens. Then next round you could go action, remove all the time tokens, and immediately do their action again if they have got an action. Construction upgrades. There isn't any that are appropriate for the Enterprise. It's not a prototype, it's not a constitution, it's not the U.S.S Constitution. Ablative generator is allowed, it does have the required stats, but again, not era specific. It's very much not in the Dominion War, and it's not an NX. Ambassador, Sarek fits here perfectly. Journey to Babel, he turns up on the ship several times during the course of the original series and times we see him. So he is a perfectly possible ship for this. But again, we're not going to worry so much about bringing him along. I'll put him on because he's thematic and he's the one that allows. Now, on here, it's been given a point discount. He isn't discounted by a point. He's an ambassador, not a crew upgrade. But the ship, the coding for Utopia here, makes him think it's a crew upgrade. So, talents. Well, one of them, I know I did this last time. We're going to do Legacy of the Name. Because the round that you're going to make contact, you do a free action and you get any action you like because you're an Enterprise, which can be Robert April's action. So it's just a good way of doing that. The next one, there are lots of options here. We could go for Tactical Superiority Commander. We have the Captain skill, provided we don't bring anything else that's got 3 or more dice. It gives us some more power. But we could also To Boldly Go. Now this is, you place a mission token on To Boldly Go for every other unique card equipped to this ship. Now that's not unique upgrade, that's every other unique card. So that does trigger on Robert April, on Sarek. Doesn't trigger on the ship, but you put that on there, and it means it triggers on Kirk, April, Sarek, each unique crew, which could be a maximum of 7, and if you bring a unique weapon, that's 8. And that gives you 8 mission tokens. And these are where every time you would remove an Orc's power token from beside this ship, you spend a token and you place a battle stations evade or a scan. So, you can do your move, remove an Orc's power token. So basically every green manoeuvre that you do that clears Orcs gets you spend a token, spend a mission token, get an action token. There are several crew upgrades, Scotty for the most part in here, that enable you to disable him to remove an Orc's power token, which would then immediately trigger that to activate. So, because we're going for a crew heavy, a unique named character heavy build, then we're going to go for To Boldly Go. Crew upgrades. Right. Let's start with the obvious one. We have a Spock. Now, this version of Spock here has actually been errated out. He has been replaced by this one. This is the Kelvin Spock, and then this is the other Spock. So we have 2 Spocks we could use. This Spock here is, when attacking, if you have a scan token, you get to convert all battle stations into hits. If he's equipped to a That there says Constitution refit. So he doesn't get his full power until he's onto the Enterprise refit and the A. If he is on a Connie refit, the attack can't be cancelled. That's even brilliant. And then he's also got the first officer ability of if Kirk's ever killed, Spock takes over. The other one is you may discard Spock in the combat phase and spend a scan token to make your ship attack not be able to be cancelled this game round, and your ship cannot be prevented from attacking. So if someone's gone, you can't fire, I can't fire, you can discard Spock and go, oh no, I can't be prevented. So I can't be stopped from being attacking this round. Also, it means if someone's got Interphase Generator or Ibex Dynasty or Tora Zial or any other attack cancellation ability, doesn't work against Spock. Now, he is a discard, so he is one time. There are ways to bring him back, but he is a one time at the point you use him. So, and he's expensive. 4 points for a one time. This attack isn't being cancelled. We're going to go with this Mr. Spock. So now you need a scan token, which you can do on the action bar. Your attack gets free battle stations to hit conversions. No problems there. Next crew member. So after Mr. Spock, we have Leonard McCoy. Again, these two are Kelvin. We're not going to worry about them. So we've got 4 versions of McCoy. So the top one is after you move, you can discard McCoy to perform your captain action as a free action. Doesn't work in this build. Kirk doesn't have a captain action. The next one, discard McCoy to allow 1 crew upgrade to perform their action as a free action this round. Potentially, but he's a discard. And again, I don't really want to be putting people on here that we get to use once. The next 2 are action, re-enable 2 crew upgrades. Remove all the disabled tokens from 2 of your crew upgrades. Not really applicable in this build. We have Kirk to turn disabled into time tokens. And then the final one is spend a scan token to remove a disabled token from a crew upgrade. So all of them are about disabled tokens or discarding themselves. So in this particular build we've got with Kirk and April, I'm thinking we may not bring McCoy along for this one. That's fine, we don't have to bring along. Said, in the original series you've got Spock, McCoy, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, and you've then also got MRES, Christine Chapel, RX. You've got 9 crew upgrades that are from the original series that you could bring, and you've got 4 slots. So not even everyone off the main crew is going to get onto this ship. So, speaking of them, let's look at Hikaru Sulu. So we have 3 versions of Sulu. Yes, there's 5 cards, but this is the Kelvin one, and this one has been errated out for this one. So the top one, action. If your ship is not cloaked and you performed a green maneuver this round, you may perform a sensor echo action even if the ship does not have sensor echo on the action bar. That's really nice. So it's you get to arc dodge as a Constitution class. That's really nice. It does require you doing a green maneuver, but you'll want to do green maneuvers to clear any Orcs power token, and that also triggers to boldly go, and then you get a Sulu. So that's not a bad shout. The next one is if you do a red maneuver, you may disable this card instead of placing the Orcs power token beside your ship. Now, that can be useful. It does mean that it doesn't trigger boldly go because you're not removing the token, it's disabling him instead of placing it. But it does mean that you can do your red maneuver and still be able to act that round if that's important. The final one is just action. Roll. This round you get to roll +2 defense dice and convert a battle station to an evade every time you defend this round. He's just a super defensive card that you can make this ship roll 3 defense dice with the battle station's conversion each turn. That's never a bad shout. I think we might go for that one. It gives us a crew action that we can do with Robert April if he ever gets disabled or time tokened. But we might change it later. The next crew, we have Pavel Chekhov. Now, bottom two again, Kelvin timeline. And this one here has also been removed by this one. So we have, at the end of the activation phase, you may disable this card and place an Orcs power token beside your ship to flip 2 disabled shields over to their active side. Doesn't sound brilliant, but there are abilities that enable you to disable shields for a bonus, and then you can use him to re-enable them. That's not a bad shout. Several ship abilities allow you to disable shields. There's several crew upgrades that disable shields, or even if the enemy's gone, project a stasis field, turn your shields off. Well, Chekhov allows you to put a couple of them back up again. Not a bad shout. And it's a disable, so it becomes a time tokens thanks to Kirk. The next one, when attacking primary weapon, you may disable him to re-roll all of your blank results. You must keep the results of the second roll. So it does mean that then that whatever you've got on the second roll can't be modified up. So it is just you're using him as a re-roll, but you don't then get to convert. So not as useful, as powerful. The final one is check for power strain. If this ship performed a wipe maneuver, remove an Orcs power token from beside this ship. If you're equipped to a Miranda class, you get to place a scan token beside your ship as well. Reliant. And he also has a first officer ability. If the ship captain is discarded, you can flip this card over and he becomes the captain. Pop him on there, and it means that you can do any of the white maneuvers. Clear an Orcs power token, and then trigger to boldly go. Which means basically you can do any maneuver apart from a red, and you're triggering to boldly go, removing the Orcs power token each time, thanks to Chekhov. Just means you're able to do more actions more frequently. Now, the rest of them, we have Neo Torahura. There's a few versions of her. We've got discard her to target everyone at range 1, and they must all discard a token or have an Orcs power token beside them. It's a nice idea, but again, it's a discard, it's range 1 only. This one here is a slight modification. It's a disable her. Target every opposing ship at range 1 that has any battle stations, evades, or scans. They have to discard all of those tokens until there's only one left. So if they target a ship that's got 2 evades and a battle station, they have to discard any 2 of those tokens to leave them with exactly 1 token. Not 1 of each, 1 total. Nice, but again, range 1, so you have to be really close. This Neo Uhura, at the start of activation phase, you can disable her to have +2 captain skill. Not bad. I mean, again, it caps the rule of 3, gives you a total of +3 to make you a total skill of 11. And it's a disable, so it would trigger for Kirk. But, again, it's not spectacular in this. And the final one is discard Uhura before you move in order to change your maneuver for this round. It's just a one-time use of the Captain Kirk ability. Not brilliant, not amazing. So, we're going to keep going. So, we've done Spock, we've done McCoy, we've done Sulu, Chekhov, and Uhura. The next one we have is, you have Christine Chapel. Now, she only came in the animated faction pack. There is 1 copy of her. Now, she does have a nice ability. You can disable her or put 3 time tokens on her to target a crew upgrade on the ship and remove either their disable token or all their time tokens. Now, the nice thing with that is you can time token her to remove a disable token, time token to remove time tokens, disable to remove disable. You can choose which one works best for your fleet build and then remove whichever one also works. So she's a planning phase ability to re-enable one of your crew upgrades. Now, none of these guys disable themselves or have an ability to disable themselves. So, maybe not in this particular build, but she definitely has potential. Montgomery Scott. So, there's lots of Montgomery Scotts. So, from the top, you may disable him to prevent an Orcs power token from beside your ship. Same as the red maneuver Sulu. However, he is at any time disable the card to prevent the Orcs power token. So he could be an Orcs power token that's been given to you by an opposing ship. This Montgomery Scott is an action. You either disable 2 shields to gain 2 attack dice, or action repair a shield and lose 2 attack dice. Now, he works quite nicely with the shield re-enabling Chekhov. You could action, disable 2 shields, gain 2 attack dice, and then use Chekhov to re-enable them immediately, giving you your shields back. Now, this is the Montgomery Scott I think we're going to look. This one here is add a tech upgrade or a weapon upgrade slot to your upgrade bar. And at any time you may disable this card to remove an Orcs power token from beside your ship. So, we bring him. He adds a slot. You can do your red maneuver, disable him, remove an Orcs power token, trigger the To Boldly Go. Now you've still got your action ability, which could be Sulu, and more importantly, or Robert April would enable you to immediately re-enable Scotty to be able to remove an Orcs power token again later. The other versions of Scotty are this one, action disabled for a 1 shield and a 1 hull repair, which is nice, but it's a disable for a pair of repairs. And then the final one is whenever you place an Orcs power token beside this ship, you put it on this card instead. And as an action, you can time token Scotty and target a ship that's got a construction upgrade within range 1 to 2. If it's a friendly ship, it gets to do a 2 straight. If it's an opposing ship, you get to take your Orcs power tokens from this card and put them next to that ship. So it's useful for targeting enemy ships that have brought along construction upgrades and just handing off Orcs power tokens. But I think we're going to stick with this Scotty. Gives us an extra slot and enables us to remove an Orcs power token. Now, we've got a tech upgrade. I'm going to very quickly touch on something that I mentioned at the very start. Romulan cloaking device. Yes, I know it's weird. However, the Enterprise does canonically steal a cloaking device. Kirk disguises himself as a Romulan and everything. So the Enterprise does have a canonical and a realistic way of having a Romulan cloaking device equipped to your ship. Now, you don't get to do a sensor echo. However, it adds the cloak action to your action bar, which enables you to do the cloak action even when under Orcs power token. So you could have that equipped, do your red maneuver, and then still be able to cloak. It's not the best idea, and you would have to build the entire ship around being able to do this, but it is definitely something that could be done. And since it adds it to the action bar, it means that it is affected by the Enterprise's ability. So, just something to keep in mind. Let's go for weaponry. Now, there is several weapons we could put on here. There is one that is specific to a Constitution class and works really nicely. A full power phaser barrage, which also is a unique upgrade and therefore triggers To Boldly Go. So this is prime weapon. So the attack value of this card is the ship's prime weapon value. So 3. Doesn't sound brilliant. Attack. 3 time tokens on this card and place an Orcs power token beside this ship. At which point you could disable Scotty to remove the Orcs power token to trigger To Boldly Go to get you an extra token. So potential for combo there. And target an opposing ship. If this weapon upgrade is equipped to a Constitution class ship, you roll +2 attack dice. Now suddenly it's a 5 dice attack. That's good. Apart from that, it's just a normal attack. There's no special conversions. However, in the deal damage step, if you have at least 2 uncancelled hits and or crits, you roll 3 additional attack dice and add all of the hits and crits that you roll in those 3 dice to your attack total. So, you have your 3 dice. They become 5. You roll your 5 dice. You've got to scan tokens thanks to your action this round, or because you immediately disabled Scotty to get yourself another scan. So you've got 2 scans actually. The enemy's rolling 2 less defense dice, but more importantly, you can trigger Spock. You get 5 dice. On average, you're going to get 2.5 hits, and then and then you're going to get 1.25 battle stations and a blank. So between the conversions, you're probably going to get 4 damage. They roll their defense dice. If you do at least 2 damage, after the end of the compare results step, you have 2 damage that is going to damage their ship. You then roll 3 more dice, which on average is going to be another 1.5, so say 2 damage. So the full power phaser barrage, if it hits at all, it's going to hit hard, unless it does exactly 1 damage, which is possible. At which point, then, what are you going to do? That's a fringe case. For the most part, they're either going to cancel everything, or they're going to take more than 2 damage. If they're taking 2 or more damage, they're going to take a lot more than 2 damage because you get 3 bonus dice. Now, it does give you an Orcs power token for firing it. So obviously next round you're going to want to find a way to either remove the Orcs power token if you want to be able to do, say, Sulu or a different action. But you could not care because you do have Scotty and you do have the Enterprise ability to do action bar actions while under Orcs power token. Now for a tech upgrade, now we could put more weapons on here. We could do things like Arsenal, which would enable you to recharge the full power phaser barrage faster. You place one of the time tokens on the full power phaser barrage, meaning you'd only have 2. You could fire it every other round. So you could do that, and then the weapon upgrades you could put in there. We could put in Type 8 phasers to give it bonus attack dice per weapon. But let's go for a tech upgrade, I think. So first of all, for a start, there is another Constitution class specific weapon, dual phaser banks. You can disable it for bonus dice when you fire per weapon. It's not amazing. It's something that you could use, but again, it's 3 points, and for 3 points you could put on Type 8 phasers, which is +1 attack dice all the time. So if we come out of tech and weapon and we come down, we have Astrogator. Now Astrogator may only be purchased for a Constitution class ship, and as an action you can discard the card to perform an additional non-red maneuver with a speed of 1 or 2. Now that is quite nice. That's a good potential. So you do your move, and then you've gone, oh, okay, I'm not where I need to be. Discard Astrogator, get an additional speed 1 or 2 maneuver. Now that gives you potential and flexibility in terms of which maneuver. Gives you the 1 banks, 1 straight, 2 straight, 2 hard turns, 2 banks. Now it is additional non-red, so you can't do the 2 reverse, but it is something you could be doing. So this ship, as it stands, is based around keeping your crew going. Now again, your crew are all cheaper. That's the main point of bringing Kirk. The fact that your crew get disabled and they have time tokens on them instead only really matters for Scotty, and you can disable him to remove the Orcs power token from beside your ship, and then April could immediately retake them off of him again. So it gives you the ability to use Scotty a lot more often to keep removing Orcs power tokens from your ship, and then obviously to boldly go triggers each time you do that. Now you could have done move, do a red maneuver. Okay, then you do action scan thanks to the Enterprise. Then you fire the full power phaser barrage. Now you've got 2 Orcs power tokens beside your ship. The following round, you do a white maneuver, clear an Orcs power token with Chekhov, trigger to boldly go. Disable Scotty, remove the second Orcs power token, trigger to boldly go. That's given you 2 tokens, 2 Orcs power token removals, and you've now got your action available to do Sulu to keep yourself alive. So this all works together in terms of keeping the ship with lots of actions, lots of tokens. You've got lots of ability to use the boldly go. Chekhov allows you to remove the Orcs power tokens very frequently. Scotty enables you to remove them as well. Kirk makes Scotty go faster because you can just remove the time tokens with April's action. And also it means he will eventually come back of his own accord. The full power phaser barrage gives you a nice punching hit for a Constitution class. The astrogator allows you to get into position a bit more easily. As I say in every single video, this is not the only way to build this ship. You could go for something completely different. You could go for a crew with crew action loads with animated Kirk for battle stations and then loads of crew actions. McCoy enabling you to use your scan token to re-enable those crew actions and having that sort of crew combo going. But with the original Enterprise, because you get 4 crew slots and no native tech, you are looking at a crew captain combo on this ship. Or, like I've done, passive Chekhov, passive Scotty, passive Spock to use with the ability of the ship, allowing you to still use your action bar with Orc's power token. The only one that requires an action is Sulu, which you can do the turn you're going to be in combat. You use your free action for Legacy of the Name to trigger Sulu. You've still got your normal action to do your scan or your evade or your target lock, and then you can still pick up a bonus token when the Orc's power token from full power phaser barrage, because you can immediately use Scotty to remove it and get another token. So this has been a bit of a longer video. As we get later in the eras, the videos will get longer for these hero ships because there are more people to talk about, more versions of them, more upgrades, more combinations. So, thank you very much for sticking with me. Thank you very much for listening and putting up with all of my rambling. If you have any ideas, if you have any particular ways you want to see if you want to see a particular hero ship, again, I'm doing all the Federation hero ships, so both Enterprises, original series, the D, the E, Voyager and the Defiant, and probably Deep Space Nine as well. If you have a particular ship you want to see me do, go for it. If you have a particular person you want to see me do a bit more of a deeper dive into, I've had a few already. We've had Gowron and Martok already. Someone's already requested a Jeffrey Combs episode. Not a particular character, just the actor. So I said, if you have any particular people you want to see me do, drop them in the comments, and I'll get round to them and I'll put them on the list. Apart from that, thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.